Well, we've got a lot to talk about, both CBDCs and also launching like the timeline in Choke Point 2.0. Probably a number of our viewers right now are just like, what is that about? Which leads us to our next segment, which is about
Yeah.
crypto with Bitcoin and altcoins. And we have lots to talk about there. So let's start with the basics. Where is Bitcoin? How has it been doing the last couple of weeks, and why? So that typically that is the Bitcoin miner, the veteran, is going to lead us through that. So Patrick, where are we at with Bitcoin today?
Bitcoin is strong right now. We're sitting at 28,267. So holding well through this market where there clearly is economic uncertainty, especially globally. We're looking at it all over. So I'd say the hash rate is strong for us. We're seeing the price is strong. We're looking at the hash rate going up about 400 right now. So I believe that mining is just going to continue moving forward, and the people who are validating the network are only more encouraged to do it. As the price increases, they become more profitable. So honestly, I'm a little confused why the price hasn't dipped more than I would have expected it to. But I suspect, again, it's just playing around with the value of the dollar. I believe when we see the value of the dollar at 110, what we're not really seeing is the fact that 110 is now, but everything is losing value together. So in relative value to each other, they're still worth the same, but it still buys you less globally. Like the whole globe can afford less. Bitcoin is the solution or a solution to that. But silver, as well, as you could see, silver and gold are also faring really well. So I'm not really sure what's happening with the price of Bitcoin. That's a little bit confusing to me, but clearly the tokenomics are showing us, and all the data shows us that Bitcoin is stronger than it was ever before.
Well, maybe that's a little bit about this next story that I'm going to share and let Dylan talk about, which is that this tweet from Watcher Guru said that Congress is introducing a bill proposing Bitcoin mining can help achieve energy goals and grow the U.S. economy. So they're putting that story out there as a positivity towards Bitcoin. Maybe that's one of the accelerants to make Bitcoin go up. Also, with banks failing, that's probably another impetus. So, what do you think there, Dylan?
Yeah, so a couple good points here. So I want you to go back first to the page you shared before. It shows all the data.
Get you there
on Bitcoin.
Yep, on Bitcoin, and I want to point out a number to everyone. So the cool thing here is you can see all the data with Bitcoin, right? It doesn't just change. You can see each block happening, what transactions, what outputs, and then the thing to look at is the addresses, right? That's almost 50 million addresses for Bitcoin. Now, that's not necessarily that many people. There could be multiple addresses and things like that. But when you combine that with the next page you shared that says Congress proposes a bill, what does that kind of signal to you, right? That there's perhaps a voting bloc and intransigent minority, as they're commonly called, that are single issue voters, right? Are you pro Bitcoin? Are you not pro Bitcoin? And there's more and more people that are getting involved in politics or are involved in politics that are starting to understand that there are a large portion of the population or a good number of people that they might want to win over. And so Bitcoin is making its way into the legal system when it does that. So that's like on the surface. So it's very positive, very bullish seeing that, seeing bills around pro Bitcoin solutions be announced. I think the other thing is that when it talks about introducing a bill for Bitcoin mining that says it could help U.S. accomplish its energy goals, it's common in many Bitcoin circles to talk about how Bitcoin is probably one of the most ESG friendly industries out there. The government, that's like the big enemy, right? The big woke enemy that we always bash on. But when you look at what Bitcoin's doing and how it does it, it's very, very climate friendly and incentivizes investment in clean, cheap energy costs. And it helps monetize those energy sources that we want to build, but don't necessarily have the demand for yet, as kind of like some people talked about as like a pioneer species. And so it's really cool to see this come forward. I think it's a huge positive for Bitcoin as a whole. And I think it's also something to look into, and we should probably talk about more how Bitcoin works with how Bitcoin mining works with energy, with the environment, and why it's something that is actually better for the environment than it's giving credit in the mainstream media.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions with crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain. And if you want to know more like that or interested in a particular, if you want to see a show just dedicated to that topic or segments, please leave a comment down below and like and share and subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell as we share this content out. But I would say we have 20 plus years amongst us in crypto, like right here. That's a lot of experience. It's hard to find that kind of experience, and we understand the differences. But one of the things that we are spending a lot of time on this year and getting ready for is explaining the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain and using that blockchain technology for CBDCs. And CBDCs, people are learning it really quickly. And there's another story that just came out. This is the second go around for this attempt, but wrong story. Hold on a second. This is the story I wanted to talk about. Ted Cruz, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, is introducing an anti-CBDC bill. This is his second attempt. He did this again last year, but he's trying to prevent this. And I believe that Florida Governor DeSantis also said he's opposing CBDCs. So, Patrick, you think this is going to have any legs? Think this is actually going to get pushed through?
Absolutely not.
Could you elaborate?
They hate Bitcoin. It's pretty simple. They're not going to allow us to block CBDCs. It's coming.
Dylan?
I think that there's something interesting at play here. My dad mentioned this about like freedom states and pro-freedom states and non-freedom states. And I think we've kind of seen that with Texas and Florida as some of the biggest examples, in Wyoming. These states that have over the past few years have introduced laws, put laws in place, or just policies in place, or general like attitudes towards policies that incentivize people to move there, to leave places where their rights seem to be infringed upon. And I really like, maybe it's a bigger thing. And like, I've seen like the charts and stuff, and perhaps you've seen about like the number of people who have left certain states and where they're heading. People are always talking about everyone leaving California and where are they going, right? For better or for worse. But I think we're seeing a dynamic like that play out where we're having states basically planting flags and say, hey, this is what we stand for. And they're polarizing against other states. And I don't know where that's going to lead, but I think it's something to pay attention to. And just one more comment on Ted Cruz, like him or hate him, the guy is a skilled politician. He's been a successful politician in Texas for years, and he's like increasingly started to align himself with more and more of the Bitcoin narrative. So again, positive that you have politicians that are trying to push Bitcoin forward. You should always be suspect of politicians, especially from anyone in the current system that's been around for a while. But I think it's interesting and it's intriguing dynamic that's at play there.
Yeah, I think that the fact that it's in the discourse and the conversation is good. And some of the politicians actually understand what they're talking about, but many of them don't. But there is another story that just came out that's also putting waves into the crypto space, which is about Coinbase, and they're coming after. This kind of gets back to the choke point 2.0, Patrick, which I think we probably need to explain again. I think we talked about it last week, but here's Coinbase getting a Wells notice. Patrick, what is that?
So the Wells notice is actually a very ambiguous document that says, hey, we're about to do something, and it's not going to be good for you. And so Coinbase
it's not well.
Hey, apparently we're about to have some action and enforcement taken against us for violating some policy that we didn't know about. So it's coming, but we're ready to defend it. I mean, they have no idea what's coming. They're not yet anyways, not that we know of. It hasn't been released. What are they really accusing Coinbase of doing? I mean, it's not hard to guess what they're going to try to do, but the reality is Coinbase has so much money to fight this, and they will win, especially on the seat of XRP. It's just not possible. I don't know. Gensler is like such a loser. This guy is losing against XRP. This guy is going to be losing against like many companies. And here you go again with Coinbase. You're going to go fight against Coinbase. Brian Armstrong's team is going to eat you guys alive. You are going to be he's going to fail miserably. Like he's going to be a laughing stock.
Yeah, it's interesting to see all the actions they're taking against the exchanges. They're going after staking. They recently went after Kraken. They're just trying to push choke point 2.0, which we've alluded to but haven't explained. But Nick Carter, both, and myself and Heresy Financial, Joe Brown have talked about it. It's basically that one of the it's not really a conspiracy anymore because it's really happening. The U.S. government is trying to limit access to crypto. They are trying to cut off the off ramps and on ramps between fiat currency, dollars, Federal Reserve notes, and getting access to crypto and back. So and again, it's kind of an art. It's to encourage CBDCs that are coming, and also to encourage the staying in the dollar system. So, Dylan, is that your take on it?
I have a slightly different take on it. And it's just something that I've thought about is, we like to think the government's all, like to demonize them all the time. And,
yes, we do.
And I think it's worth it, right? And they deserve critical eye and criticism.
They deserve it.
But also, I think there are certain things that could be in place, they're doing because they think it's good for people. If there's an exit of the US dollar, if it is failing and it's having all these struggles, which we think and believe that is true, you don't want people exiting to something that's worse, right? Or it's like say there's a fire exit in a building and there's a fire, and people think that that's an official fire exit, and they go and they open up the door and they take 2 steps and it's really just a drop off on the side of the building. And I think for some crypto projects and places like that, that might be a view that people at the SEC, people in the government think is true. And I think it's true for a lot of them, right? We've seen people lose billions and billions of dollars in capital, invest in supposedly legit projects that were anything but, and legit companies that were anything but. So I think that might be a dynamic that's at play. And I don't know how big or to what level of influence, but that is really something that I've thought about, that maybe that's motivating some of these actions is, they don't want people to get completely wrecked if they start to exit and they follow false prophets or false gods or false assets. I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
I really think they have. I'm kind of leaning more with Patrick that this is a contrived plan. The timing obviously is loose, and they've got several different paths that they can go down this year. But we know that things that we know, bucket one kind of stuff. CBDCs are going to be launched. They've already been launched in other countries, and the U.S. is getting ready no later than July to launch it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but
no, guys, no.
The path is the question.
The government does not want anything good for you. I'm sorry. There is no glass half full here. Let's talk about, just throw a random dart on the board. Food. Oh, yeah, they really want what's best for our food. Money. Nope. What about healthcare? Nope. I mean, seriously, when has the government, that's like the joke I started off the show with. Hey, I'm here from the government and we're here to help. Like, no, there is no off ramp to a better system through the government system. They want you to believe that CBDCs are the solution. That's what they want you to believe, is they're trying to help you. Are there some local government that might have the best interests of the people? Yeah, for sure. Not from the Fed, though.
Yeah, that's if you look through look at governments through that lens and say governments never shrink. Politicians like that. There are some career politicians there, including the resident of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, who's never had a real job. Although I'm sure he'd tell you about one that probably is fictitious. But they grow the government. The government never shrinks, and they don't represent their constituents. Once they're there, their job is to get funds to the people that got them there in the first place, and to stay there as long as they can. And it's not really about doing the best thing for the people.